Hi, I'm Rachel Bloom, and I am a card-carrying skeptic. So I think that women are kind of preyed upon is the wrong word because it makes it sound sinister, but kind of pseudoscience-y things are marketed to women at a very, very young age. Astrology, horoscopes is in every kind of teen magazine, woman's magazine, and so from a very young age, I was very love struck. My first crush was when I was like 8 years old. I was very involuntarily attracted to men from a very young age, and so I would read horoscopes all the time to see if I would get together with my crush. And they literally, that's how they say, like, read this horoscope to see if your crush likes you. And it got to the point in high school where, and kind of my infatuations were also a way for me to distract myself from the fact that I was depressed, which is kind of what my show's about. But it got to the point where every day I was reading horoscopes, and there was this thing online called biorhythms, where you'd put in your birth date and it would tell you what your rhythms of that day were, and if they coincided with the biorhythms of your crush. Again, it's always like, see if it's like blah, 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 with your crush. And it got to the point where the guy that I was desperately in love with in high school was a Sagittarius, and I'm an Aries, and it was like, they're perfect together. And I was like, this is fate. Oh my God. Sagittarius and Aries were meant to be together, and it just reinforced kind of all of the unhealthy reasons I liked this guy. Because the fact is, if you're relying on biorhythms and horoscopes to see if your crush likes you, your crush isn't worth it. It's a whole, that's the mishigas of it. I can't even. So I was very, I felt like kind of pseudoscience-y things fed into the more unhealthy parts of myself. And at the same time, when I was a kid, I was really interested in like ghosts, aliens, the paranormal. I contemplated becoming a Wiccan, all of the makings of a future skeptic, because we all know that scientists and skeptics start out as kids wanting this stuff desperately to be true. And so then I got into college and I went to art school in New York, and I had a couple of run-ins with psychics that made me go, And the first two were that 2 different times I got stopped on the street by psychics being like, you have a great future. I need to tell you what's going to happen. And I remember this one psychic stopping me, and I was like, I gotta go. And she goes, oh, you'll be back. And I never came back. And so by using my free will to never come back, I negated her psychic abilities, obviously. And the second woman came up to me and was like, I have to tell you things about your future. And I think I was targeted because I literally was walking around with headphones in being like this. I looked like the ingenue in the opening of a musical, I'm sure. And this woman was like, I have to tell you some things. I was like, okay. She's like, do you have your credit card on you? I take credit card. We can go to an ATM and get some cash. And I was like, can you tell me one thing? And she goes, let's go to an ATM first and I'll tell you. And I was like, I gotta go back to my dorm. But the third thing that really raised my cackles, if that's the right way to say it, was I went to a psychic with my friend who was getting over a breakup, and he was a dude getting over another dude, and we went to a psychic, and first the psychic told me some things about the guy that I was currently infatuated with. And by this time I'd been kind of over the whole astrology biorhythm thing, but I was susceptible. And the thing is, my friend told her everything. It's like she's in this really, really fucked up relationship with this guy, and she's like, I see that you're in a fucked up relationship with this guy. Really, she just read the room and told me the things that were true. And I was like, when will I get together with him? She's like, I would give it some time, which was actually the psychic's way of trying to give me good advice. I was like, no, tell me the month. Tell me. But anyway, my friend, so I had this very bad experience, and then my friend was getting read by her, and she's like, well, for an extra $80, I can get out my healing crystal ball and I can take away the negative feelings. And he's like, Rach, I need to borrow $80. And so I had $80 on me, and I gave him $80, and they literally held a ball. And she's like, okay, let the energy wash away from you. And he's like, oh my God, it worked. And it was just common sense. So the long story short is a bunch of other things that happened, but I saw the ways people who peddle in pseudoscience trade on people who are emotional and are in bad places in their life. And I was especially sensitive to it as a woman and as a feminist, and the fact that women's magazines are synonymous with horoscopes. And so that made me more and more of a militant skeptic, which I'm now backing away from because I live in Los Angeles now and I'm in the entertainment community, and a lot of people believe in psychics and tarot cards and, cleanses that do nothing. And so it's always kind of a balancing act for me of when to tell them they're wrong and when to just smile and nod. And I'm still figuring it out. Because what do I know? I'm not a scientist. And that's the thing. I think as skeptics, there's a fine line between being an asshole and knowing what you're talking about if people ask you your opinion. Happy 25th birthday, Skeptic Magazine. You can rent a car now.
Thank you for watching. Check us out at skeptic.com and support our mission to promote science and critical thinking at Patreon.